We are back with more Great Ace Attorney. Sup, everyone? Ahem. Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. Back to Mario, Luigi, and taller Luigi. Gregson's just like, oh man, why me? I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination? Oh, yeah, Governor. I did, Gov. I did. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. I'm not used to seeing Mr. and Mr. Like, usually in this type of stuff, like, that sounds like someone you would have for a couple and not a pair of brothers, you know? Like Mr. and Mrs. or something like that. I mean, hey, if they're all for they're all for gay rights back in the 1800s, then sure, go for it. But I don't think putting incest into the mix would be a good idea. So let's just, I'm just gonna drop that conversation. This is a big yabai. Ooh, whiny. This is gonna be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windibanks. Yeah, dun dun. Well, it was Bedlam soon as, wasn't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out me loose lockets. And I am not... I think I'm doing decent on the Luigi voice, but my Mario voice needs work. I think I'm more so, like, trying to do, like, an impression of Vinny Vinesauce's Mario impression rather than the actual one from the show. Now I know how a meatball feels! I don't know. However, that was a lie. Usul Deadu. You brothers. Whew. Blimey! On the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter. We never done nothing of the sort. How do you figure that out? I'm just looking at each other like, these two work as a great comedy duo. You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that's chalice number 2. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. God. I like how he crushed... This is like one of the only times he's ever crushed a chalice and the music hasn't stopped or changed in his music. A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Say no more, Gov. We hear. What? We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll peach. We'll blab, we'll speak, we'll... A legal entry, the whole truth. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing. It was when we heard the gunshots, see? Made us both jump and all that stuff went flying. Lummy, it didn't have give a fright. We was thinking the shooter'd come out of the door and get us next. We stuck everything back where we found it and scarped. Straight into him in the black. We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we? Alright. So you admit to the defense's accusation? You did indeed ransack Mr. Windibank's countertop on the night in question. Not ransacked, Governor, no. That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tidied up, yeah. Now I know how a meatball feels. Sorry, I need to, like, remember the Mario voice from the show. That's, like, I only have a few lines that I remember. Coney Island Disco Palace. Oh, sorry. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess. The way you say it, we hardly sound like roughs at all. We don't, Nash, we don't. Can you make us sound a bit more cutthroat? Can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Windibanks that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. Why are you panning over to me? Alright. Cross-examination. Legal entry, the whole truth. Bum bum. Lum bum bum bum. If that is the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place? Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we? We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we admitted to something like that, people would think we was up to no good. Well said, Ringo, me old China. We'd only land ourselves in even more trouble. And in fact now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Landed yourselves in even more trouble. It's rotten luck. It's rotten luck, says the rotten apple eater. Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter? We never ransacked nothing. Right, Nash, right. More like we tidied the place up. Sorry. It was when we heard the gunshots. You made us both jump and all that stuff went flying. So, what you're saying is... the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much, you knocked all those things off the counter. Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah. This bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on. Look, it was loud, alright. Well, I mean, me dead granny would have woken up at the bang. It's a stone, Luigi. You didn't make it. Big brother here screamed like a bloomin' baby and fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull or whatnot. That got tangled up in some marionette. One knocked over a picture frame, one knocked them scales on the floor. We've really mastered working quietly, then. What a racket. Me granny would have been scared back into her grave at a clatter like that. So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise. And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, BAM! Hi. Munch. Excuse me. Pardon. Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add? Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels. No, something to add about their testimony. You seem to react just now to what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something? It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it, only. Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, we brought these fellows into the yard for questioning last night, and the statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Did it? You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Might have, Gov. Might have. Does ring a bell now you mention it. And I cannot keep a consistent voice for Ringo, no matter what. My Mario voice fluctuates constantly. Maybe I should go with just the "It's-a-me, Mario." I don't know. I don't think the dude's Italian though. Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still, I can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas?
If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them.
Easy, easy. We'll get it right this time.
That's it, yep. It's all coming back to me now. Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs.
Right you are, Gov.
Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun!"
Hold it!
So in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously.
We did, Gov, we did! Although I suppose if you're being honest, we heard a kind of wavering voice before the yell and all. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun!
Bam! Nice acting.
Kind of thing.
Kind of thing. Career in acting tragically missed. I know, right? That was actually pretty good for them. You know, you two might be thieves, but you did well in the acting. Props for that. Claps. And wherever the voice is coming from, could you tell?
Of course we could. Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was.
From the storeroom where the victim was found dead.
And the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Winterbank.
Swing.
On me granny's life, course it was. On his granny's life, course it was.
You have the same granny? So, that would mean that you both knew Mr. Winterbank and the sound of his voice.
Eh? So that would mean what? What, Nash? What? Any ideas? Yes, counsel, indeed it would. No, we didn't know the geezer. How am I supposed to deny it when that bloke in all the fancy clobbers gives us the evil eye?
His eyes aren't open, though. Now they are.
If you value your lives, you'll ensure your testimony is accurate and true. Straight and true like an arrow. On me granny's life it is. On his granny's life it must be.
It's a good job his granny's dead. Wow. To summarize then, immediately after... Oh, sorry.
To summarize then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then heard the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor. You make it sound like we're clumsy. Don't forget we tied it up after like good little boys. Anyway, the way I see it...
Sorry, I gotta check something real quick. Alright, sorry, I had to check something there.
Hold it!
You're saying that Mr. Winterbank had a gun in his hands.
Oh yeah, but that was a sight, eh? Them two waving them guns at each other must have gotten pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted out, we heard the geezer say, "If you don't want to get shot." Didn't really sound like he meant it, mind. More of an empty threat, you would say. Mr. Winterbank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required.
I think it was more so his own head, but yeah.
But someone being himself, of course.
Okay, yeah, that sounds more in line.
Good grief! Extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. Well, he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person who was gonna shoot beat him to it. Cooked this goose proper. Bet he wish he'd squeeze the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun!"
And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot.
It was more or less at the same time, Gov. Give me that gun. Kind of thing.
Yes, a career in acting, very tragically missed. Miss. Nailed it.
Then we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck, before everything went dead quiet. After that, we done a slapdash jump, tidying the place up.
So you didn't try to open the storeroom door then?
Not on your life. It went deathly quiet after that, it did. Put the wind right out of me. But anyway, the door was locked, weren't it? No way that was opening.
Yes, of course. It was locked from the inside, or so we've been led to believe.
It was, Gov, it was. From the inside. So we had no way of knowing what was going on in there, did we?
Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside of the storeroom. Like through the keyhole, or a spy hole, perhaps.
Don't ring no bells. Don't light no lights. We had to cut and run before we noticed anything like that. We're still cutting our teeth in this game, see? But one day. We'll really cut the mustard.
Please, cut it out.
But as we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body with the accused not 2 feet away.
Yes, unfortunately. But they heard the voice of Windabank. What we've heard is that they heard Windabank's voice, but they didn't say anything about hearing what Gina sounded like. And they also haven't said that they looked through, meaning that they don't know if Gina was there or not. Maybe the only thing I could think about is maybe they left maybe the two of them briefly left before us being Ryu, Sholmes, and Susato came to the place. Maybe they left the building temporarily, someone else came in and took Gina into that room and passed her out and set things up. I don't know. Gina was in there, unconscious with a gun in her hand.
To confirm, would it be correct to say that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom? That's right, Gov, that's right. Couldn't have, even if we wanted to. We stuck everything back when we found it in Skulkin. Straight into him in the black.
Hold it!
Yes, whereupon you fired a shot from your own gun at Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Oh, yeah, we was a bit hasty there. We was, Nash, we was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you lot turned up.
If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hand.
Good advice, miss. Good advice. Truth be told, me mind went totally blank.
Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand.
Mental note made, miss. After that, we legged it down the street, but apparently we looked dodgy to the coppers or summit, so they clamped the dobbies on us like winking.
Ringo speaks in ways that I cannot understand half the word he says.
And after you've been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession, correct?
Okay, but the question is, which one of them fired it? I don't know if this has any bearing on the case, I'm just curious.
Well, yeah. Well, listen, that proves it done it, eh?
Dun, 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 dun.
We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never had a chance, did we?
Hold it!
And why should we believe that?
Well, because it's true, isn't it? The place was totally empty when we went in.
At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused who had a gun to his head. Well, she had a gun pointing to the ceiling, actually, but sure.
In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbrokery, Mr. Windabank.
Correct. Miss. Crit.
You've got it, mister. Down to a T.
So the Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windabank. Is that really true, I wonder? Okay.
be the end of the testimony.
That's it? That's the full extent of their testimony? What is it, Reno? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired.
Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably laugh, but I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something important. It is nothing more than a feeling, though. I have no proof to support it.
Well, feelings can be very logical at times.
Sorry?
People's expressions, the movements of their eyes, the words they choose. You can take all that in your brain and your brain will quietly analyze it to come up with a feeling like you described. You've concluded that there's something suspicious about this testimony without knowing why, that's all. I think you should trust your instincts.
Iris,
Thank you.
sometimes I think she's 10 years old.
Sometimes I think if she is 10 years old, I must be 5.
Huh. We heard a voice yelling out. One sec. I'm just gonna...
We haven't lost any health yet or anything from wrong choices, so I'm gonna save.
Okay, voice yelling out, give me that gun.
Hold it!
We've already pressed this, haven't we? Okay. Kind of wavering voice before the yell and all. Bang. Let's see. I'm just gonna fast forward and see if anything happens. Okay.
It was the voice of Mr. Windibank.
So that would mean... Oh, right. Sorry. I'm just going through stuff in my mind for a second. I got so focused on voice acting that the actual information I retained was very little. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the voice is what caused them to mess up, and then they... He's holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. What do I have? That Mr. Sholmes deposited the pawnbroker. No, it's not that gonna be that. Maybe we should examine this gun. This is Mr. Windibank's gun. The cylinder is completely empty. He used to keep the gun to hand on his shop counter. But only there was a single bullet loaded, I understand.
That's right, to keep all the pawned articles that were in his care safe.
Just trying to examine this and see if there's any... Stare down the barrel. This is a smart idea. Okay, never mind. That's not working. What about this gun? So there's ammunition still loaded in 5 of this revolver's 6 cylinders.
Yes, which tells us that only a single shot has been fired from it.
Exactly. Wait, what did she say? I'll make those what pay? I'll make... Oh, just make the brothers pay. Okay. Point the gun at myself again because I'm smart. Okay. I heard a voice yelling out, give me that gun. The bloke who had owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have... Oh, this is it.
Objection!
Wait, no? Never mind, that didn't work.
What implications, Counsel? Nothing strikes me about it.
Exactly. Oh. Womp womp womp. The owner place was holding the gun. Maybe this. Well, you could have. There's got to be something I gotta present here. The question is what? Oh. Oh yeah, we haven't looked at this, so I can do this real quick. Case summary. Victim found deceased on the last scheduled onset of the day after stab wound. Occupation brickmaker. Domicile East End of London. Mason Milverton. Linus McGilded. Baron von Zykes. Conviction was assured with three eyewitness testimonies. However, a surprise fourth witness testimony resulted in acquittal due to insufficient evidence. Okay, I don't know what all that will mean, but... God, I'm stumbling so much, I cannot think. I'm almost certain it's got to be this one.
Objection!
Oh, it's this. Duh. Gina was freaking holding the gun in the picture. I'm stupid. You're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Winnebank, was wielding a gun, is that correct?
That's it, Gov. You've got the picture.
Yes, Nash, she is. No question. And yet the photographic evidence from the time of the incident clearly shows that Mr. Winnebank was not in possession of a firearm of any description.
Objection!
You surprise me. Does the defense really intend to highlight evidence that compromises the position of the accused even more?
Listen, sometimes you gotta do this type of stuff to fully reach the truth.
Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photographic print presented was taken a suitably short time prior to the victim's death. Your chronology is severely lacking, Counsel. Yeah, that's right.
Too right, Nash, too right. The old geezer could have been able to turn the tables on the girl, eh? Hardly likely.
Oh, I'm afraid this won't stand as conclusive evidence.
What? That wasn't it? What? Okay. I thought that was it. Okay, it wasn't. Oh shit. That's in... God. never even had a chance.
Objection!
Nope, that's not it. My brain is freaking fried. My brain is turned to mush. No, I'm just gonna keep presenting until I find it. When in doubt in one of these games, just present willy-nilly until frickin', I don't know, until either you die or you get it right. Purple. Longbrick parishes. Yeah. Proud pickpocket protests planet post-trial, perhaps. Text planet? Ooh, I can't wait for tomorrow now. It's gonna be so great. Okay. This is... Or death to a single wound from the back. Did I post... Oh, shit.
Objection!
Nope, that ain't it. See your trembling hand, your pout expression, and your perspiring brow. Huh? Oh my god, he has the shaky eyes while he's pointing. It seems to me that is the damning inconsistency here, of the misplaced confidence of your assertion. Oh, he has a damning ton. You invited, sir. Okay. I'm just gonna skip ahead. This is gonna take the rest of the episode at this rate. See, the thing is, some of the times when you're... I haven't figured out what the answer is here, but I'm pausing to say that something that I realized that I should talk about is that sometimes in Ace Attorney games, they do this thing where after pressing all the statements or whatever, like, you have to, like, repress older statements in order to find, like, a contradiction or something. And it's kind of weird. It's just something that they end up doing at least once per game, and generally the farther into the game you get, the more convoluted things are. And considering we're on the final case, I think that the chance of that happening is pretty high. So yeah, that seems like a likely thing that could occur as I'm going through all this. Also, I realized that a lot of the times when I'm playing this game, I'm so busy reading the dialogue and advancing the plot that I don't actually say my thoughts on a lot of stuff. So I thought, hey, while I'm trying to search for the right answer here, I can do some funny stuff. I don't know, maybe just do some casual talk. This plot's very interesting, though, like this case and everything. There's been a very nice overarching plot to this game, from start to finish. Like the first case, the stuff with Asogi, Kazuma, and then you had case 2, which, I mean, I freaking cried during that, so that was certainly something. Gun in her hand, blah blah blah. Sorry, I thought that was something new for a second, so I got distracted. But yeah, I really like the overarching plot. You get to Britain, you get to London, and the first thing you do is you get thrusted into a new case that you've never dealt with before. It's just really interesting. I don't know. And then we have this, that, like, you have Susato going back overseas while we're doing this case to get Gina off the hook. There's just a lot of nice things that are tied together, and I really like the flow of it. Also, not to mention the animations, the writing, the dialogue, the character designs, the music, everything just flows super well, and I really enjoy this game a lot. And of course, there's still a lot to come, and we have an entire game after this. This is only the second half of the journey. And wow, I have pressed through all of those statements and still nothing new. So I guess that was a fluke, what I said earlier. Okay, well, now time for me to present everything on every statement. So this I'm gonna skip. Okay, well the thing is, this statement here is added, so I should probably think of something to do with this. I'm unpausing again, because I want to try to actually piece this together without having to randomly resort to presenting stuff.
The bloke that owned the place was holding a gun, so he could have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. Okay, let's examine some stuff here. Redemption ticket. I don't think it's going to be the redemption tickets. I doubt it's going to be the representation papers. Blood samples, and no. Manuscript? No. No. Loading gun. I doubt the McGilded case notes are going to come up yet. The paper. Autopsy report. A report prepared by the Scotland Yard coroner that confirms instant death due to a single bullet wound from the back. I question how Gina... If it was shot from the back, though, the question is how the hell did Gina even get behind him? What's this say? Photograph of the victim found murdered in the storeroom. Single bullet wound in the man's back. I don't know. Victim found murdered in the storeroom. So we should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. I don't think it's the guns, because I already tried this. I already tried this on this statement earlier. Winterbank's gun, I already tried. It's not going to be this. This was one that I chose, but it didn't work for some reason. It's got to be something on here, though. And I don't think it's going to be this. I don't think the stereoscope's going to help. The only thing I can think of is maybe this?
Objection!
Oh shit, did it actually work? Okay, that was just the only thing I can think of, but I have no idea as to why. So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Winterbank, was wielding a gun, is that correct? Are you kidding me? We're supposed to point out that he doesn't have a gun? But that's why I pointed out that Gina has the gun. Because how would he have a gun if... Oh my god, this is stupid. Okay, whatever. Moving on. Whatever, it's stupid.
That's it, Gov. You've got the picture.
Yes, Nash, yes, no question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after this incident clearly shows that Mr. Winterbank was not holding a firearm of any description. Yeah, because Gina had it. That's what I was trying to say.
You what? Gordon Bennett. That ain't right.
Objection!
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Winterbank's gun was found at the scene.
Yes, in Gina's hands.
Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hand.
My god, their poses.
Yeah, that Multooler used the victim's own gun to finish him off.
Boom. Dead.
Kind of thing.
Hold it!
Stay exactly where you are, right there.
Eh?
If the crime had taken place as you've so colorfully described in your testimony, it would give rise to an undeniable and an insignificant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out.
Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me, my learned friend. But let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments?
Should be the autopsy, right? From the back.
Take that!
One from the back. According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot.
Indeed. With the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe.
Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind.
Oh.
There is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
Yeah.
Dude, you're about to fall off that box.
Well, but it's the God's honest truth.
It is, Nash, it is. When he was shot that night,
The shopkeeper had a gun in his hand. He saw it with her own bleeding eyes.
I keep getting interrupted. I am so sorry. Okay. Did I hear you just now? You actually saw Mr. Winterbank holding a gun.
Something like that might have slipped out.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses. That on the night in question, they actually saw, with their own eyes, the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person.
Nash,
You're about to fall off the box again. His back right foot is about to slip.
Order. Witnesses, explain yourself at once. Oh, well, the thing is, it wasn't supposed to,
Oh.
It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness would be the death of you. Am I to understand that you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with the renewed lies? Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is CWM.
Cut it out, Nash. Cut it out.
If we blab now, you know what he'll do to us.
He? Who are they talking about?
Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Oh, come on, the game's up. But you'll have a guts for goddess.
In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out.
On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place. Well, do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth.
Oh shit. Witness testimony. Encounter with the victim. Next time on Gradius Attorney. Adios, ciao, and bye-bye. Signing off until next time. Ja, mata ne.